Have I already got one on my?
But you only got one petition. He's got the whole thing. Went on.
Well, I thought I had.
I didn't print the whole.
I shall. It's,
I never got one.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
minute, we approved it. It's on there.
you.
Horse head. Oh, I don't have time.
We don't have that.
Over on the end of it.
Surely you could send one of these. to me, but-
Hey, Don.
Yeah, I had to turn it down.
I got it. No,
Oh, yeah.
figured it out, I ain't got time on that.
Oh, wow. Down back in the lab.
I guess I can agree.
That's all this
This
is.
is kill them with the documentation.
It does affect my seeing, but I should have thought that.
I was worried about being late, we're gonna be dark.
Start as I process it.
You're not late. Got one more minute.
Well, I had some suggestions for them, but also I'm going back and checking, since I've been on the, trying to pull together information, I hope we've got every year, pull some information before I ask questions, and, you know, I constantly ask questions, but before I ask all of the questions, to get myself lined out.
My granddaughter. It was a waste of time.
Absolutely, I agree with him.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. All right, well, let's get started. You're right. Okay, 6:01. I'll call the meeting to order. Roll call, James.
Josh Earl,
Present.
Glenn Hoffman,
Present.
Mitch Magnus, Larry Phillips,
Present.
Charlie Pierce,
Present.
Reed Petty,
Present.
Joel Williams,
Present.
Wayne Cohn.
Present.
You have a full vote.
Okay, thank you. Wayne, would you pray for us, please?
Well, dear, will you please stand? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you today, thanking you for this beautiful day that you've given us today. Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity we have to gather here and do business for the city, and we just ask for your guidance in everything that we do. Lord, as always, we just ask that you always bless the employees of the city of Harrison so they can have good days. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, be seated, please. All right, we need approval of the minutes for March 12th.
So move.
Second. Got a motion and 2 seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes. Wayne, I want to thank you for filling in again. That was 4 weeks ago, but appreciate that. Thank you, Wayne.
You're welcome.
Department head reports. Chris is homesick tonight. We may have an officer join us, but for right now, we'll go without a police report. Let's go to Wade, Public Works.
I'll update you all on a few different items. Our paving crew for our 2026 paving program, they're in town working on milling. Started this week. The actual paver, the crew that does the paving is scheduled to begin starting Monday, weather permitting. The plan is, once they're here, they're staying, not pulling off to other projects is what they've told me. That would be great, because that could get them out of here in a matter of, 4 to 6 weeks. So glad to have that. Just, reminder, it's a $1.7 million contract that we have for this paving. over 10 miles of streets all over town. Basically, it's just to give you an idea of how much asphalt, it's 18,500 tons of asphalt, that's in the contract. We're also working on, we'll advertise next weekend for a bid to do a bunch of street striping. That one's about 175,000 for the street striping on various streets around town. I've got that estimated at 80 to 90,000. So hopefully they come in a little bit better, but just the way we've been seeing things. Mini replacement project, we've got the pre-con scheduled for that. All the contracts are done and assembled, everything's in. So hopefully we'll get that notice to proceed issued. There's pretty long lead time on the equipment itself, so we'll get through that, and I probably won't update you on it for quite a few months until the equipment comes in when we get the work going. Goblin Drive's moving along pretty good. I'm hoping to see another round of asphalt go down on the south end towards the end of this month. Get things ready for the final push over summer once school is out. RDOT projects, the Harness Hester project has been going okay. There's been quite a few utility conflicts and have been corrected and then had to be corrected again. One of them was one of our water lines. We had to go back and move it to a different location because we got it in the wrong spot. But that area is still, they are hoping to have the new signals up and that being pretty fully operational July, and is what the contractor told me. Walmart signals, a lot of that work's been at night, and I'm going to continue to be that way. Kind of similar schedule, trying to get the new signals up. Airport will come after that since it doesn't have a signal and it's not really messing with things right now. I think they're gonna focus on that once they get the temporary signal, the permanent signals up at Walmart and don't have to deal with this temporary because they've been a problem. Bridge, last update I got is they're expecting that to be opened in June. We've been hoping for May as things go with construction, but now it's going with our Highway 65 relocations for water and sewer and some of those upgrades along there. We're putting together the agreements. Hopefully we'll have relocation agreements to RDOT in the next week or two. Preliminary calculations have that as a 45% reimbursable project. Which basically means RDOT will pay us for 45% of whatever the costs are. That's currently estimated at a $5 million project. So that would be, $2.25 million coming from RDOT, and we're replacing a lot of old infrastructure in that. So long run, it's actually a pretty good deal for us. I'd love to see that reimbursement more. We do have a historic district commission meeting this coming Monday. That will be the meeting where they fully authorize me to submit the application to Arkansas Historic Preservation for us to become a certified local government. And then also the local district is in effect right now, so they do have authority down there downtown in the district. The commission does. We'll have a pretty heavy slate for planning commission this month. A couple of rezones, large scale development. There's a variance, and I can't remember the other items. There's at least 5 items that will be on it, and that's a pretty heavy slate since we haven't had meetings since last November. So, one thing we were hopefully in the next few weeks, you'll see us replacing some of the old globes on the decorative lighting downtown that have yellowed and just kind of gotten ugly. We had actually ordered them at the end of last year, waiting for them to come in, and when they came in, they shipped us the wrong ones. But we had to wait several more weeks for the new ones to get in, and they're in today. And then just update you on we've had some issues in the water system. Last night, we had 2 major blowouts on 8-inch water lines. One was by Davis car dealership. The other was actually behind Miller Hardware, so in the same area. I had crews out starting around 11 o'clock, and they worked through pretty much all day today on different things. Also, with 5 other leaks, or 3 other leaks that we know of that popped up, smaller and more minor ones.
Which one of those on Sherman?
No, so
Or were you
Sherman
cleaning the tank?
tank is overflowing. We've been trying to fix a valve. So after last night and kind of what we're seeing today, we think we've got a PRV or something that's malfunctioning and pushing more pressure into our system's divided up into different pressure zones. I won't go into the details, but we have valves that control the water coming into them so it doesn't overpressurize them.
Yeah.
We We think we've got one, we've narrowed it down to a couple of them, and so we're doing some isolating to identify which one of those valves is malfunctioning and letting too much pressure through. And so when we get too much pressure, like a tank, you know, it'll just keep pushing the water in and it'll start overflowing. And so that's what we had going on yesterday. We'd gotten it fixed, and then it started going again.
I received a couple of calls on that.
We've received a lot of calls,
Yeah.
which is good. I mean, people see something, let us know. We appreciate that. Most likely we'll end up having to replace one of those, the PRV. The one we think it is that we've got isolated right now is actually on Old Bergman Road, pretty close to Maple Esplanade. That's probably gonna, just to purchase the valve, 5, 6, 7,000 to do that, and then we'll just have to see what other materials we have to do to if we have to replace that valve, we're gonna go with a different type. Similar to what we've been using more recently, that works better. They just don't always fit. So we'll have, it could be about a $10,000 cost to get that fixed. Other than that, I don't think I've got anything else unless y'all have any questions.
Wait, thank you on the globes. I think I asked Luke on that. It just will look nice with all of them being new and updated.
Yeah,
So-
we're glad to get those in. They're surprisingly expensive, but those things are.
Okay, Wade, thank you. Chief Lowry?
Good evening, Council, Mayor. In front of you is my report. You also see a lot of other things there. That's for the mayor's discussion later on, so that's not part of my monthly report. So don't think that's all just from this month. Again, our report, pretty busy in the code enforcement side, a lot of inspections going on. I'm still doing a lot of construction down at the new apartments down by the college, getting them things out of ground, getting them going. Then the assisted living facility on the Rock Springs, are adding a wing to that, so that's keeping the boys busy as well out there. So plenty to do on that part of it. As far as the call volume, it was a little bit less in February as opposed to January. But it seemed like we had more bad incidents as far as the structure fire. That was the Ocoee Cove fire, had one on Courtney Lane, and as well as Huntington Place. So we had 3 pretty substantial structure fires through that month. And then as always, I always like to bring up how we go out and help our neighbors. We went out about 12 times. The report actually don't reflect it correctly. It shows that we've given 8 responses, but it was actually 12. Several structure fires that went on that we helped out in the county, as well as our typical starting the springtime hike outs and those kind of things at the park. So keeping us busy there. And one of the things I did want to bring up to you all and let you all know is we did have a couple of firemen hurt this morning at a structure fire out at Batavia. Nothing serious. We did send one of them to the hospital for smoke. And then another one, he didn't go get checked out, but he took a hit to the head and busted his face open pretty good. So just keep them guys in your mind and prayers, and we'll make sure they're healed up. And the one we took the ER for the smoke inhalation, they released him in a couple of hours. He's doing fine, but he actually had a ceiling fall on him and knocked his mask off. So he was breathing hot air and smoke before he could get out to the outside. So, but he's doing good. So we'll take that one for sure. So y'all have any questions? Thank you.
Okay, all right, Chief, thank you. Luke, are you coming up or do you just want to holler?
I've been out for this week and a little bit of last week, planning things up the major. But because of that, I don't have financials there in front of me, so I apologize for that. Sales tax for February, whenever we got it, it was a good month. It's always our lowest month. I just wanted to kind of update everybody. Seemed to be ahead of budget, which was good, but nothing earth shattering this time, unfortunately. But that's expected. That's always our small month right after Christmas. People don't spend much money, so that's kind of is what it is. Unfortunately, January is also the month that we spend most of the money because everybody gets their new budgets. They want to go buy everything, and we have insurance coming out in January. So that's our biggest, one of our bigger expenses is the insurance for all the buildings and vehicles and everything. So cash flow's a little down, but nothing to be alarmed about. Everything is pretty strong.
All right,
My team went over there, or holding the fort down. I guess I got a couple of them over there. They did a great job and they kept me updated with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I don't know if you folks have noticed, or it's just, Larry, you might be able to comment on this. For the last couple of weeks, we go by Walmart anytime and it looks like it's Christmas in the parking lot. I don't know what's happening, but I know it's an increase. So I'm sure our taxes will show it. And hopefully TJ Maxx will be open in 60 days or less.
And traditionally, when TJ Maxx opens, it keeps more people in town. What they've seen in Berryville is the Walmart sales have increased because
People will stay in town. Excellent.
It's a good deal.
Well, good. Yeah. Okay, Luke, thank you. Chuck?
Hello. Good news, we're back over 5,000. We're at 5,027 members right now at Creekside, which is up from the last month. Couple of things that happened in the last couple of weeks. We received our big check from the state for the matching grant for the all-inclusive playground and splash pad at the baseball softball complex. We have a Zoom meeting next week to get all that started. Again, that will start after our major tournament season's over around the end of July and August and probably be completed hopefully by the end of December. That's our goal. So I'll keep you updated on that. Again, that was $150,000. That was the match. And then Kiwanis Club has kicked in another $100,000 and then the city will match the 150. So it'll be a $400,000 total project that we're going to be doing out there, which is amazing. So thank you. We had an Easter egg hunt at the indoor aquatics. We had about 50 youth participate in that, which was good. We also had micro wrestling last Friday night, which was a new event we had. They sold 415 tickets. And we made about right under $1,000 in concession that night. So that was a great event for us. That was new that I think they're wanting to come back. So that was something we might have for the next couple of years. Upcoming events, we have a swim meet this Saturday at Creekside. The big news is we're going to go ahead and open the splash pad Friday. Those hours will be 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. 7 days a week on the splash pad. And then the bathrooms will be open from 6:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. to give people time to change or whatever they need to do at the bathrooms at the park. We have a USSSA baseball tournament this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We have a NASA soccer jamboree tournament Saturday at the soccer complex. We're actually going to be hosting a prom for Valley Springs at Creekside on April 18th. And we're going to start draining the pool and having it cleaned on April 27th. So if you see some people working on that, we're getting the pool ready for pool season, the outdoor pool as well. So that's kind of what we have going on at Parks right now, unless you have any other questions for me.
I'd like to comment on the micro wrestling. I was able to attend.
Sir.
I was one of 3 local people that attended. What I was getting at, I saw 2 people out of 415 people there, and that's virtually full. That's kind of how many chairs we had out. I saw 2 people that I knew, Mitch and another guy. Out of all those people, I didn't know another soul. And what that tells us, they were in from probably surrounding area. And more than likely, very few of them had ever been inside Creekside. So, I mean, there's value behind those sort of things way beyond, the revenue, but we made money. The community was excited. It was something new.
Mr. Mayor, when we had the circus down at Creekside and the amp. So I had multiple people tell me, what comment on it, why are we holding things like that? And I said, because we can now. There's a benefit to it to the community. I guarantee you of those 400 or so people, the majority of them either went out before to eat or after.
Sure.
In addition, I was challenged and I couldn't find the mayor at the time to wrestle the mayor. And the only problem I had with that is I said I would only do it if we were on our knees and we could tag team with two of the micro wrestlers. And we couldn't get that done in time before the end of the night.
Well, we learned. Okay.
It was a good turnout. They wanted us to put out 500 chairs and they filled 415, so it's.
Well,
Yeah.
several people that actually talked to them, and I made mention to you, Chuck,
Mhm.
that, some of the individuals talking to them, and I talked to them for a few minutes, kind of like with the expo that you had. This was the best show they'd had anywhere this year. And they said, we were definitely coming back. They loved the atmosphere. And naturally, it's all in good fun, but you know,
We're definitely thinking outside the box on what we can bring to Creekside for the community for sure.
right.
So,
And the mayor's right. There were a lot of people. There was somebody there from Calico Rock, Arkansas
yeah.
that we talked to. So they drove from Calico Rock, Arkansas to Harrison, Arkansas, ate out, of course, and went to that. So,
It made other purchases, you know.
yes.
Yeah. So good deal. That was a big deal. Thank you, Chuck. Okay, where are we? Okay, I guess that's it. We can roll right into new business. The first item, I think is gonna go to Gwen in regards to a piece of property that we have a contract on, subject to your approval. You should have all received the contract. If you have any questions, I'm prepared to, and Roger Turner is, say again? Sure. I think his dad's coming and he was involved in the contract. So if we had any questions I couldn't answer, Roger Turner Senior will be able to. So let's move on.
You needed a copy of the full contract, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I
If you
do.
need it, I've got it.
I got one.
Okay, you got one.
Yeah, thank you. So we're down to, it looks like Wayne, surplus property, Wayne Cone.
All right, the first one on mine is a resolution, which is number 1349. The resolution declaring certain real property owned by the city of Harrison, Arkansas as surplus, authorizing the mayor to engage in licensed real estate professional.
Okay. And that's a resolution, so we're gonna need to vote on that.
Make a motion, we approve the resolution as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second discussion.
Can we actually describe, I know we have this map, but for the public, can we describe exactly where this property is?
Yes.
It's the red section, correct?
Yes. So it is a small lot, 0.1 acre, just south of the old New Way building.
New Way Cleaners, who remembers that?
So, it's a little bit north of the library. I'm trying to think the best way to describe it.
Cheney's parking lot.
Yeah, Cheney's parking lot, there we go. So we actually own a portion of that.
Yeah,
And we don't have a lot of use for it. I've been approached by one property owner in the area, as well as someone who's looking at purchasing property, wanting to know if that's available for sale, so thought that it'd be a good time for you to declare it as surplus. We put it on the market.
So you said a property owner, is it somebody that owns an adjacent property?
Yes. One is,
So
both of them.
one
okay.
owns one adjacent property, the other owns, or doesn't own, they're actually looking to buy the New Way Cleaners, build New Way Cleaners.
Okay. Because it sets a precedent that we did this for another property owner to get somebody that's adjacent to it, right?
Yes.
And all we're looking for tonight is an approval to declare it surplus property.
Declare it surplus, list it with an agent, and then, of course, any contractor offers any of that would just come back to council for approval on the word of God. Yes.
That's all the question I had.
I got a question for Wade on that just came up. Would that be something that we would be obligated to get an appraisal on? I mean, it's not worth much, so the appraisal will probably cost us more than the property.
Appraisal would cost quite a bit, or at least a good chunk of what we could recover, probably, a formal market opinion from a real estate expert might be sufficient,
Okay,
just some sort of basis, but
something, and then
yeah.
if you got two people, you can. Yeah, okay. All right,
So-
thank you.
Question though, do you have to list it with the realtor?
No, we do not. We have options on how to deal with surplus property.
Right.
We don't. We can sell it without a real.
Legally, yes, we've kind of fallen in, that seems to have been the preferred method that we've gotten into on selling these properties.
Yeah.
With council, this, the option did not go well when we did that.
If it was a house or a commercial building, I would want to. There's been so much value that I was able to see, even though I understand the real estate business, having one represent us. And especially Roger Turner helped us on a couple of properties, and he knows a lot about that kind of business with commercial and land and utilities and all that kind of stuff. And, but on a property like this, we may not want to.
Concerned it would add to the cost of this type of land, and
Yeah.
I don't want to make it unaffordable for someone, I don't want to just keep adding costs to.
Well,
Exactly.
Simple
Yeah.
as this, it's laid out, it's very
Yeah.
clear what it is.
well, and one of the reasons for this is to have transparency in what we were selling. So if
Yeah.
there's someone else involved that's not tied to the city, that there's some independence there. If somebody says, hey, I didn't even know about this. Well, it's listed with a realtor.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a lot smoother than when we tried to auction it.
Well, I can say that I hope that we learn from the auction if we ever do one again, to have a
Uh-huh.
bottom dollar price listed with that, but
This has been, we have sold, this is the third contract now on surplus property, and with a realtor, and they've all been smooth, real smooth and totally transparent.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
But if a person right next to the property is wanting to buy it and we've done it before, I would think a realtor is not necessary.
correct. Oh, I think with this, size also. I'm not, what'd you say it is? 0.1?
What the.
0.1 acres. Okay.
Yeah, it's 10.
Yeah, I'm not even sure you can park a car there. I think they're gonna try to, but, and both of them, want it. And I think one, we'll have to wait until we get offers on it, and we can talk about those, because I think one might benefit the city more than the other, and we may want to consider that. But we'll see. We may not get an offer, but right now we're just asking for approval to declare it surplus property. So we had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Back to you, Wayne.
Mayor, you wanna go ahead and handle Mr. Turner now? You wanna handle Roger?
Yeah, agenda item,
I'm
two
sorry.
A, offer on 501, Mr. Turner's here now. Do you want to do the offer on?
Yeah, Roger's here if he wants to come up. You might have noticed, this property is subject to zoning. They're going to request that it be changed to C3, and that's going to take us a little time. It'll go to the planning commission, and then that will also have to come back to you. But what we want is an approval to go ahead and accept the contract, which allows them to proceed with their request for zoning. Is that pretty well clear, Raj? Okay. Okay, so you've had it. We got 237.5 cash offer. And
Where his house, except for turnout certificate, which we.
Right.
And part of it is on C2 and part of it is on, R3.
So just for public record, can, Mr. Phillips tell us the difference between C2, C3, and obviously R3 is residential, but, can you tell us the difference so we know and the public knows exactly what we're getting into?
We presented it to numerous
opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the distance from Highway 65, the access from 65 is one of the limitations.
Right.
We tried to address the roof condition with Roger Holmes' organization, been able to supply information to a couple of different buyers. I think we had 2 other offers and a couple of low balls.
Right.
So I'm not counting one job. So we had it on the market for a
Yeah.
significant.
So what's the difference, Wade, between C2 and C3?
So C2 is your office commercial, C3 is general commercial, so C2 is a little more restrictive in uses.
Mm-hmm.
C3 is basically, it's the least restrictive, the party that's wanting to purchase the property wants to use it for retail auto sales. So C3 would be the most appropriate for that, in that area. R3, which part of the R3 is a medium density residence.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, Raj, thanks for coming down.
Hey, you want, well, I apologize for time gets by.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
So Wade, with them turning it into a C3 and a car lot, are they, I mean, will there be requirements as far as what they will have to do to make it a car lot? Like, can they just park vehicles anywhere on the grass there, or?
Technically, they can. I don't know the entire details. Some of that will probably be discussed. So this will be on the planning commission agenda for them to consider on April 28th.
Okay.
The city is actually making the application to the agenda, to the commission, and so I put the info in there that I have, and then we'll see what additional info the planning commission wants before they make a recommendation to the council. Because once they make their recommendation, then it comes back to you. As far as if they want to tear down, add on, do something like that, then they get into planning commission review for large scale development, stuff like that. If they're just going to move in and do a remodel, there'll be some involvement from Chief Lowry's guys. But as far as, I don't know of anything that would really prevent them from parking cars on grass. So that's something to keep in mind. And another thing I do always mention when we're talking about rezoning from one thing to the other, because the potential buyer has one thing in mind that they want to use it for. Once we do a rezone, it's anything allowed in the C3 will be allowed, which C3s aren't very, that's just your basic retail and stuff like that.
Well,
On the R3, changing that, does that interrupt anything residential wise for those that are residential?
No, because this is targeted specifically to the property that's being purchased. And so it won't address any of or cause any problems for some of what's left of residential going up there on 7 North adjacent to it.
so the property itself, regardless of what it's used for, the traffic there, given the Highway 7 interchange, is difficult regardless, but it wouldn't matter what you put in there. I mean, the traffic's gonna be what the traffic is. Does planning and zoning address that at all?
It's typically a discussion, especially if we get into them, building something new, when we get into a large scale development. An existing commercial structure that's going to be used for a commercial purpose. I mean, it can be discussed, but there's not a whole lot we can do because they've already got driveway, they've already got access.
You would expect, and I'm making assumptions here, that obviously R3 and C2 have less traffic than a C3 business.
Yes.
You would assume that.
Yes.
So the traffic count should go up there, but you're probably not going to be turning left anyway because of the number of people.
I've tried turning left out of there when the chamber was in that area,
Yeah.
so it's a challenge.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second and discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you. And let's turn the page and go back to Wayne.
All right, Mayor, at this time, I'm presenting ordinance number 1548. This is an ordinance accepting the dedication of Street Wide Awake from Jeff Crockett Trust. I'm gonna ask Wade to come up and let Wade explain all this to us.
So I did play out old survey where I highlighted, the actual area that we're talking about for dedication. Some of you I think have been on council when this has come up in the past. I've been here 15 years. I think we've had this come up periodically, starting back in 2012, 2013. When all of that property was developed, they never completed the formal dedication of right of way for portions of Walmart Drive, Grandview, and Meadows. Those have been used as they were actually platted initially as fire lane with the intent for it to eventually become public street. Just for back, I guess, a lack of better way of putting it, dispute between whether we should leave barricades up or down on Crestview and Grandview. It always kind of held it up because the property owners wanted those down. Council's not really moved forward with wanting that down, so it's never been dedicated. Property owners now, ready to dedicate, get that dedication done, to complete what should have been done 20 years ago. So that those roads, which are used as public streets, can technically fall under our maintenance and we can get them fixed because they're deteriorating or in bad shape. So that's what this ordinance does is it accepts the dedication that Mr. Crockett will do. He's already got the documents. He's in Florida right now, but hopefully he'll get those back to me so that we can get those filed. Thought I had a little more time to do this, but because I'm wanting to pave those roads, without a current contract. I'll go ahead and say it. And then they sprung on me that they were actually gonna get here early this year, which is great news, but I need to really get this taken care of. And as far as, the barricades that have been put up in the past, the ones on Grandview have been knocked down again. We've not put those back up. The ones on Crestview, they're still up. We're not having any issues. Really, I don't know we've really had any issues with people knocking those down. I'm not in a hurry. This doesn't require them to come down, but this does get like in the past, it's always been, we do this, we take the barricades down. This doesn't require that. This just sets it up to where we can get those roads paved. And we're not going to take any other barricades unless that's direction otherwise.
Okay, I make a motion that we suspend the rules, placed ordinance number 1548 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
Then we have a motion and a second discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Stand down right there, if you don't mind. What does that do exactly to Crestview in your case?
I'm not taking them down unless I'm told to. But
And we would be the ones that
that would
tell you
be,
to take it
that
down.
would be the council or the mayor's office who I've worked directly for. But in the past, when we've had these discussions, so we can get this closed out, there has been a requirement to have those barricades taken down. That is not a requirement. So
Okay, so where did that requirement come from?
the property owner, in order to do the dedication, is.
And when you said property owner, you mean Mr. Crockett?
Yes,
So
yeah,
that's no longer in play.
that's no longer in play.
Okay, so we don't have to touch the barriers.
Mr. Jordan, if you've seen the
No,
map,
no.
would you like this?
I would.
Mhm.
Point of clarification for council, this current vote is only on reading the ordinance by title only.
Correct.
So you're not actually in vote discussion on the underlying
No.
ordinance proposals, making sure I understood where we were at.
Thank you for the clarification.
We need to go ahead and vote on this.
Yes.
I
Okay,
need to do a read if discussion is finished. A read.
yeah, discussion is finished. We had all in favor, several ayes, and then we stopped. So all opposed? Okay, that motion passes.
Ordinance number 1548, an ordinance accepting the dedication of street right-of-way from the Jeff Crockett Trust, declaring said right-of-way to be a public street and for other purposes.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we suspend the rules and place the ordinance 1548 on its second and third reading by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Ordinance number 1548, an ordinance accepting the dedication of street right-of-way from the Jeff Crockett Trust, declaring said right-of-way to be a public street and for other purposes.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Make a motion that we suspend the rules and enact the emergency clause.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion. All in,
Wait.
Yeah.
To take the barricades down, I mean, what all would you guys consider before doing so? Or what would all be considered? What plays into that?
Development in the area, or future development would probably be one that would be considered most, some of that property.
Development in what area?
Stay at the south of Meadowmere, south of the, Realty Board, the Realty Board office. But, you know, that Meadowmere it lines up to connect with, Hester. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the Crestview one would have to come down. That was just a decision that the planning commission made when all of this area was originally developed, and we left it to.
And let's clarify that, you know, this ordinance it has nothing to do with the barricades or Crestview. All we're doing is getting additional land for the streets that are already there, regardless of the barricade.
Regardless of the dedication, the city has the ability to take the barricades down and come back.
Right.
We have just,
So,
based on
and
direction from our elected officials,
and this has come before council 2 other times as far as the barricades in the past. So I don't even see this as tied to the barricades at all.
No.
None whatsoever. It has no bearing on that at all.
Okay.
It essentially gives us the ability to widen the streets. Correct?
Take care, take care.
I get a lot of calls about them, and I have to say, I can't really make a whole lot about it right now.
Right.
yeah, Mr. Turner, did you have a comment?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Good.
That's that probably a decade ago, so, you know, it's been before the council a long time.
Yeah, I remember too, but you know, I remember too specifically that it was heavily discussed,
Yes.
heavily.
Yes, sir.
This would allow you to do that hammerhead thing you're talking about. Point of order, I think if we're gonna have the discussion on that, that's not what this is. And we would need any representative that wanted to sign up before or after discussion. Am I correct?
Correct.
You okay?
I needed clarification. I needed to understand it
Okay.
better than I was understanding it prior to.
Do you feel like you received that?
Most.
Okay, good. I'll take that. Thank you.
I'll just.
Okay.
So this, and what it really does is it gives me the legal right to go put asphalt on those roads without.
Gotcha.
There's other avenues where we can claim them as public roads, but if the property owner is willing to make the dedication, it's clean and simple. And that's all we're doing is.
Okay, we had a motion to adopt
No.
Motion to enact the emergency clause.
and that the emergency clause. Okay. And did we have a motion and a second?
Yes.
Your
Okay.
call for the vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. Okay.
Mayor, that's all I have tonight.
Okay, we're down to old business. This is an issue that the last council meeting, there was quite a bit of discussion, I think, on staffing, mainly police and fire. And of course, I was gone and so was Chief Grady. And I think at the end of that meeting, you guys wanted to have some questions answered. Now, in the meantime, we have communicated, as you all know, by email and a couple of times. And the last email I received back from Josh, he indicated he was satisfied with us having adequate staffing. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. Okay. So I don't know
But
if they're
that's
still,
Me.
yeah, I know,
Okay.
I know, I know. But if there's still questions about that, I think we're prepared to try to answer them at this point, or at least I will try. Okay? If there's not, I won't answer them. Okay. We'll move on. Council comments. Council?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll just say something. The questions that I asked are not intended to call anyone out, not intended to do anything other than gain knowledge. Okay, I'm not
Sure.
looking to do anything. I'm not looking to stir up anything. Although it has been perceived that way, that whenever I ask questions, you guys kind of get a little defensive. But it is well known. I mean, we get in situations where the public doesn't know that, and whatever, like, I mean, we can't be against people asking questions. And I know that everyone has tactics about how they get rid of people that ask questions. And I hope that I'm not on that list, but, I mean, I think that you guys have welcomed the questions greatly, but at the same time, we do need to be prepared to answer the questions, and I appreciate you being prepared, but,
Okay. I'm not sure I'm prepared, but
yeah.
that might have been a bluff. No. Yeah, no, and we do want to try to answer them. I think when you got into staffing, now I'm going to start that discussion, obviously, mainly about police and fire. We tried our best because we worked on that a lot, trying to give you all information. And it was very hard to compare us with other cities. So we tried the fairest way, we thought, was traffic count. And we still cannot explain, because Harrison is so different when you take all the cities between 10 and 20,000, and that's where we fall. The municipal league even has a category, 10 to 20,000. And there's probably 15 towns. All but one probably has about, I mean, substantially less traffic than we do, because we're the road to Branson. If you're coming from any one of the southern states below us, you're coming through our town, right through the middle of our town.
And the major thoroughfare east-west in the north.
Yeah, there is so much traffic here, and that's why we wanted to show traffic counts. And I wish we had, I think, to show a true picture, if we had numbers on all the calls that Mark and Chief Grady go on, how many of those accidents, because so many of them are on this highway, how many of them are from people passing through? Of course, we don't have that information, but that would help us come up with something. Now, we did find late, this is interesting, and I don't really understand it. Sometimes you get numbers you don't understand. And Siloam Springs, for example, they have more traffic on their highway than we do. They're the only one that even comes close. And it's about the same. I think they're at 29,000 per day. Their numbers on police and fire are like double us. I mean, they're crazy. So, and I can't make sense of that, but I really do feel, Just from being in this seat for the last 8 years and working every day with Chief Lowry and Chief Grady, I feel like they know, and Luke and I both, believe me, probably every week, we keep them to their budget. They have a budget that's part of that tax and another tax, and that's all they get. And they can't have any more unless we want to give them more. And we don't want to give them more. We think they have enough money. And so with that money, they're able to staff and, with the equipment. And I think we all know they do a terrific job. And I think if the tax ballot would have been presented, with police and fire in mind, I think it would have passed. But, I think
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Really good points, but let me point out a few things. When you get elected to one of these offices, it's incumbent of you to ask questions and to look at it. I've been the chairman of the finance committee for 10 years. I bet there's probably been 20 or 30 times in there that Luke has probably said to me, would you just quit asking questions, because it always turns out our budget. Yeah. So we all ask these questions, and it's incumbent upon us as elected officials. A lot of times people misunderstand it. And in the public, there are anti-tax people and there are anti-government people. And on the other side of it, you have people that say, I want even more services. And you have to balance all of that out. And sometimes it's not what you ask, but how you ask it and when. Asking the questions that Councilman Earl was asking after the news that had just happened.
Right.
Everybody feeds into it, and all of a sudden there's a lack of trust in our government, city government. But
explain that. Wow.
Well, because there's so many people that don't understand.
After what happened?
After Judge Hathaway was arrested, and people were saying, "Hey, there's money leaving the government like crazy."
Everyone got lumped into the same stuff.
We got put into this. We got painted with this broad brush. If the counties
because of my questions.
No.
At the time that I asked him?
No.
Just the environment.
Just the environment.
Nothing to do with you.
Nothing to do with you.
No.
But again, and that's even right here having this misunderstanding. When somebody is arrested, a public official, I had people say, well, what about the money at the school? And I said, it has nothing to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
Judge Hathaway is a completely different municipal entity. Our budgets have been clean and our audits have been clean since the entire time I know I've been on here, but
yeah, 8 years, we've had almost perfect audits, and we have 3 audits every year. So things I think are a lot different here than the county, and that's not what you were asking.
I think again, when you add the timing of the questions and everything that was going on, the election, there's a heightened sensitivity to taxes during election time, right? So people say, hey, I'm not voting for this, and all of a sudden we're discussing taxes in session. People don't understand that your millage for your schools, everybody said, I voted against the millage. Unless that millage is going up, it doesn't matter. The millage is going to be there. You can't vote against the millage because the state says unless it's an increase.
But you have to understand that's not clear at all.
No, but all of this isn't clear to a lot of people.
Right.
So they tie us to the county. They tie, all the things with police and fire, and people said, well, if it's just for that, well, the general fund tax is for other things. And when you say, okay, like what? Well, buildings and grounds. Well, yeah, we want to take care of the buildings and grounds. We want to have them mowed. So they don't understand where that money goes. We as individuals and as elected officials have to talk to, like Ms. DeZor. I'm going to talk to her after this to make sure she understands exactly what we're doing there. Ms. Hancock, I had a discussion with her prior to this. I want to make sure she exactly understands what we're doing. So,
Okay.
Good comments.
Good. Yeah, we want questions. We don't not want questions. And I think with Chris and I both gone, I'm not sure we could have. Actually, I can tell you, I couldn't have answered those questions. By me being gone, it gave me time to come back and do a lot of research and then give you some information. So we want to definitely give the council all the information that we have and then some. We want to go overboard being transparent, and I really, really mean that. So
Mr. Mayor, what are the next steps that may be appropriate
for this,
to ensure we don't lose, or do lose police and fire personnel?
well, I mean, the question is going to be, are we going to put it on the ballot in November? That's going to be a decision you all will make. I hope we will.
What is the timeline associated with that decision?
Well, I think I know we have plenty of time. I don't know the exact timeline. I know it's early August for people to, declare if they're running or not. I would assume it's going to be similar to that, 90 days out.
No less than 30 and no more than 90 days prior to the certification deadline. And for November, I do not know the certification deadline, but it likely is in October.
Okay, and I think that's something we'll need to find, and we'll need to get a ballot written and present it to you. But right now, I know we have plenty of time, so we're not going to move forward on that. We will be prepared. Let me say this, because we went a step further. We're going to be prepared to tell the council what services we're going to lose and what cuts we're going to make. We're going to be as specific as we can on that. We hope we don't have to do this, but we're going to let you know. And I think that's only fair. You need to know, the community needs to know. And we never did that in the last one. So we learned a lot from that, and hopefully it'll be better next time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, let's go back to the agenda, and we're council comments, nothing. Citizen James?
There are none.
Citizen comments? Okay, down to me. I don't have any. Motion to adjourn, Wayne.
Let's go to the house.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you all.